Are you talking about the button in the knife? Yes, and my business card. Oh, this card. So that no one has to waste their time, including the police. I always make it a point to make things easy as possible. I try to make things easy. My business card makes it very easy to identify who carried out the service. He's pretty devoted to his work. But to disregard everything to go and stab the deceased with a knife, and even hide my card from sight, that is something I cannot overlook. It's really hard to tell if he's being truthful or not without him being here. So you're saying most clients wouldn't do such a thing? That is correct. Usually most people try to create an alibi for themselves. If you should use my services, Mr. Attorney, I would suggest you plan for your alibi too. No, I already told you. I have no intention of ever using your service. Why does he keep looking at me like I'm the one on trial here? From the very beginning? That is correct, from before my client visited the room. All my clients knew precisely what the situation is at all times. I wonder if that's really true. That's odd. So why do you think your client did that? What do you mean by why? Well, fiddling around at the scene of the crime is pretty risky. Why would someone who has requested a murder go to the crime scene anyway? That is true. I assume it was probably done to frame Mr. Ungard. If that's the case, then why didn't the person just request that you do it? Sadly, that is not possible. My job is to kill, that is all, and to leave my business card behind naturally. The business card is so my clients may escape blame. To protect them is my duty. So wouldn't you want to blame it on someone else? Even if they say it's for revenge, setting someone else up to take the fall. And that's all you have to testify? Yes, and I pray that I will never be called to the stand again. Again, as in you plan to continue. I must, as I have yet to find a person to take my place and become the fourth successor. Actually, how would you like a new life, Mr. Attorney? Excuse me? No, I'm fine. Really. Are you really now? I could leave a bunch of Phoenix cards around. I wonder what kind of man the judge thinks I am now. What are you gonna do now, Phoenix? All I can do is expose the lies. And that's true, however, you do realize that will be very bad for our client, right? I'm so confused. But the one thing I know for sure is I can't let this trial end yet. I refuse to have Adrian guilty. Like, if it means Maya gets killed, I'm sorry, I'm not throwing Adrian under the bus there. I refuse. I think it was this. I think if I do this with... It's either right now I'd use that or the one a couple before that. Right there. I think it'll be this one though. Because that was more obvious. Or not. Might have been the other one. This one? Because she said she poured a glass. Her own testimony disregards that. Thank you very much for taking your time to testify, Mr. DeKiller. What is the meaning of that attitude? When Adrian Andrews entered the victim's room, your client had no idea that Mr. Kurita had been murdered. But how? How do you know that? From the wine glass, Your Honor. The glass. She testified herself that she poured it for him. Mr. De Killer's supposed client thought Mr. Kurita had already died, which is why this glass of juice was poured on them. But isn't that just a part of Adrian Andrews' calculated plan? That is not possible, Your Honor. This glass bears the fingerprints of that person. Had this been planted, they would have never left their fingerprints behind. I see your point. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion? Strangely enough, I had the exact same thought just now. Witness, how do you explain this strange phenomenon? Isn't it a waste of time to ask about such a minor detail? It's not a very important point anyway, correct? Every point's important. I'm afraid you're mistaken. If Adrian Andrews really is your client as you claim, then your client should have had knowledge of Mr. Kurita's death. If not, then that can only mean that Adrian Andrews was never your client at all. How strange. Yes? Why is it that the attorney has yet to raise an objection at this absurd situation? Phoenix, if the killer figures out what we're up to, we're in real trouble. I know. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm surprised. You know you can't say things like that without any evidence. Sorry. That sounds like an awfully weak objection to me. Anyway, I'm positive there was a contradiction in that statement. The prosecution requests further testimony concerning when the request was taken. Very well. Right now I have to buy us more time. While we wait for the items the killer left behind to get here, I just know that the very outcome of this trial lies on those items. This request came to me, about a week ago. It was a request for my services on the night of the awards ceremony. We met at a certain bar to discuss and finalize a few matters. That is what occurred. I trust my memory, and I believe I have made no mistakes. It's awfully vague. So you physically met your client, huh? That is correct. Meeting one's client is the first step to building trust, in my opinion. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. One week ago. Are you sure? Yes, I am quite sure. I, of course, had my own preparations, and I was barely able to finish. When you request my services, Mr. Attorney, I hope you will keep that in mind. Please stop. In any case, my client this time had a very specific date and time in mind. A specific date and time. It was a request for my services on the night of the award ceremony. Did you ask why on that specific night? No. I tried to fulfill all the conditions of my client's request, but as for why, I only had my suspicions. Your suspicions, huh? More. So what are these suspicions you had? Why did your client request that night? I'm sure it was all for the bear. The bear? My client spoke of it. I'm sure there will be a bear-shaped figurine in one Kurita's room. I would like you to retrieve that item for me. Must be talking about this bear puzzle. Inside that figurine was a suicide note. Naturally, the victim brought it with him to his hotel room. He was planning to publicly disclose its contents at the press conference after all. That is correct. If I had not done the job that night, I would not have known where that bear figurine was. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of any importance? Very. Testimony just now has made one thing clear, and that is... the client knew the secret of the bear figurine. Huh? Why is everyone so quiet? Mr. Wright, I think all of us already knew that. Oh, really? Witness, please continue with your testimony. I thought it was important. So you physically met Adrian Andrews, right? Of course I did. What was that? What was that breathed pause? Witness, I would like for you to give us a few more details. I always meet my clients as a matter of principle. I have never taken a request by telephone or mail. And why is that? It's because I value the trust between a client and myself above all. And the only way to establish that is to speak to the client while looking them in the eye. Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of importance? Very. Of course it was very important, Your Honor. If Mr. DeKiller has met his client before the murder, then it's unlikely he is mistaken. So you're saying that this client really was Adrian Andrews? I guess so. You see, it is just as I said. I'm so lost. Who the heck am I supposed to be helping here? Calm down, Phoenix. Think carefully and relax. Now then, would the witness please continue? So your client was Adrian Andrews? Can you give us a description of Adrian Andrews, please? That's correct. Because usually this is where you say, point to. Is this the picture of the person you saw or whatever? I mean, I don't know. Since he's on a radio, we just asked, can you please describe this witness for us? Well, he says the two of them met. But if they did, then there shouldn't be anything wrong with the killer's testimony. Well, there doesn't seem to be anything strange this time around. You have to draw more information from him, but you can't draw a suspicion. If you can do that, you should be able to find a flaw in his testimony somewhere. Talk about a delicate balance. No? Why he meets his clients is not important, and that wasn't the point. Witness, please stop sidestepping my questions. What do you mean by that? My question was, did you really meet Adrian Andrews in person? I've already told you, Mr. Wright, I did. It was only through talking with him face to face that I began to trust him. Come again? That's when I thought I can trust this person as a client. It's true what they say about talking face to face. Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of any importance? Very. If I heard what I think I heard just now, then I think I've got him. Your Honor, I believe the testimony just now was of the utmost importance. Really? If that's the case, witness, please include the statement just now in your testimony. Very well. Are you sure about that? You sure? Because last time I checked, she's a very beautiful woman. I'd like to go over this one more time. You met Adrian Andrews at the bar and took the request at that time? Yes, that is correct. And that's when you thought he was trustworthy? How many times must I repeat myself? Yes, that is correct. I'm sorry, but that is an impossible tale. What? Shelley DeKiller. You have never met the real Adrian Andrews. Why would you say that? Because you made one very big slip-up. About her. So what's the issue? Oh, fuck. What did you just say now? About her? If you'd ever met Adrian Andrews in person, one look would have told you that she is a woman. Oh, God. Order in the court, Mr. Wright. What is the meaning of this? Judge, you saw Adrian. This witness testified to the following, that he always meets face-to-face with his clients when taking their request. Not by mail, not by telephone, only face-to-face. He's never met Adrian Andrews in person. Yes, Your Honor, that is exactly the point. That means Mr. DeKiller's client could not have been Miss Adrian Andrews. You look like you're having a little trouble over there. Mr. Edgeworth, I understand your logic on this one. However, why would the assassin make such a basic mistake? I believe it has to do with her name, Your Honor. Her name? Yes, Adrian Andrews is without a doubt a very androgynous name. I don't think so. Yes, I see. Unlucky for Mr. DeKiller. The entire time he was on the stand, no one has stated Adrian Andrews' gender. And so he simply picked the wrong gender to go with. What? What's going on? You think working with On Guard, he would have seen Andrews at least at one point, or heard her. Surely the killer. This court demands an explanation. I think somehow I must have mixed up this client with another. Does that mean you remembered something different now? Yes, of course. Please, if you would allow me to testify once more. I knew. No, he's just going to spit out more lies. Very well, but this time, please give us the truth and nothing but the truth. So yeah, just ask him for actual description of her. Yes, now I remember. I took that request by mail. He never requested, except requests by mail. There have been times when I took the job without having to meet my client. The request was for the murder of Juan Corrida and 2 or 3 other small things. When I saw the name at the end of the letter, I thought my client to be a man. So you took this job through a letter. He didn't mention anything about a letter in his earlier testimony. Yes, he did. He said he never took him by mail, which means he's definitely lying. Be careful, Phoenix. If you break this assassin's testimony completely, it's over for us. I know I can't make him suspicious, but I think we're okay. Like, we can do this. As long as he's standing there across from me. No matter how strong of a punch I throw, he'll counter it. Now then, let's begin the cross-examination. But didn't you just say that you always meet your clients? Yes, I suppose I did say that. However, there are some clients for whom the meeting is simply not possible. And didn't you meet your client this time? No, I did not. Oh, come on now. Let's stop with this game of cat and mouse. Using your silkiest voice is not going to work on me. Alright then, just cough it up and confess. Mr. Wright, you can't badger a witness with such harsh words. You're a lawyer, so behave like one and present evidence instead of mindlessly yelling. Now then, do you have any proof that Mr. the Killer met with this client? I don't. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I don't have any proof. I see. Then your line of questioning was just another waste of time. Sadly for us, Your Honor, that is the nature of right and wrong. Thanks. And why would you not meet certain clients? Recently, I have had been receiving more requests. If I met each and every client, I would lose some business opportunities. Nice opportunities, on top of which the times have changed. What is now the age of information and computers, correct? Well, I have joined the Times and take requests via electronic mail. Electronic mail? Do you have to mail that in a special insulated envelope? I'm very sorry. I despise the shortening of words. What I meant by electronic mail is what is commonly referred to as email. Email? In a contest of mimicry, the judge would beat a parrot hands down. Anyway, so you took this job without having met your client, and... The request was for the murder of Juan Corrida and 2 or 3 small things. What are the 2 or 3 small things? 2 or 3 other things? Yes. And what are these 2 other things? A few other things that have nothing to do with the case. Motherfucker, what? Of course it has to do with the case. We're talking about your assassination. What should I do? Should I let him slide with that? It'd be really bad if I push his buttons the wrong way and he'll get mad. Well, it is bad to push buttons on a radio. Whether or not they're related to this case is for the court to decide. Mr. Attorney? Yes? Everything I've said from the beginning has been nothing but beneficial to your client, which is why I wonder what is pushing you to continue this cross-examination. Could it be that you're planning to betray your own client? I smell the stench of a backstabber, and should you turn out to be one... Wait. Uh-oh, it's looking really bad. I shouldn't press my luck. Alright, I have to think. Is this worth pursuing? I think it is. I think he doesn't have any other thing there, and he's just gonna throw shit to the wall, and it's going to be wrong. Witness, this is a very important matter. Please cooperate and tell us what the other jobs your client requested were. If it's truly that important, I suppose I don't have much of a choice. The bear figurine. The bear figurine? After the assassination of the target, I was to find that figurine, and I was told that this job was just as important as the actual killing. And where was that figurine? It was inside Mr. Kurita's suitcase. And then what did you do next? I handed it over to my client right away. You gave it to your client? Interesting. This information certainly sounds important to me. If you handed it over to your client, you would have seen who it was. You've completely contradicted yourself. Witness, please include what you just stated in your testimony. As you wish. Press. I found this figurine at Mr. Ungard's mansion. He gave it to Miss Andrews, then what was it doing there? I was waiting for her there. It was also part of the plan to frame Mr. Ungard, I'm sure. That makes a lot of sense. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any problems with this piece of testimony? No objections. It's no use. As long as I can't put my finger on the central problem here, pressing this witness anymore would be extremely dangerous. Appears that Mr. Wright has no problems. Well then, witness, please continue. She'd probably... The thing she wanted in this bear figurine, it wasn't the actual figurine, it was the note. She could have given 2 fucks about the bear. Shelley to kill her. If you had really given the bear to Miss Andrews, then this item should not have been inside. This item? I see where you're going. Yep, that's where I'm going. Where's everyone going? Do I need to pack a suitcase? Your Honor, please think back to Miss Andrews' testimony. And I was going to burn it for her sake. Even for a single minute, this bear had actually been in Miss Andrews' hands. I'm sure she would have taken that suicide note out and burned it. You know, I probably could have said there's a contradiction there. Now thinking about it. Oh well. Order, so that's where you two were going. So by the very fact that the suicide note was still inside the bear, tell us about that. Tell us that your client didn't know how to dismantle the puzzle. Which it means? It means, Your Honor, that it's impossible for Adrian Andrews to be the client. Oh no. Order, order. Mr. Phoenix Wright. I'm sure I mentioned this before. How I hate traitors above all else. I think your cross-examination has clearly demonstrated something to me. You must wish to break your end of our agreement. No, that's not. That's enough. If that is your intention, there is only one thing for me to do. Wait, please. Gentlemen, ladies, please excuse me. I have a matter that I must attend to. No, please, not that. Please wait. Mr. Attorney, bring this trial to a speedy end and I may stay my hand otherwise. What in the... Mr. Wright, what are you? Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. I didn't understand this witness's outburst just now. Do you think there is a need to hear more testimony, or is this enough? Well, we should. Edgeworth, we can't do this. If we keep this up, Maya, she'll... The prosecution, hi. What's come over everyone? Even you are. The prosecution rests. What is going on around here? The prosecution has no further questions, Your Honor. What? Well, I never thought I'd see the day. This is a most unusual situation. If the prosecution rests with no further questions, then the prosecution has failed to uphold its stance. If that is the case, then even though I am reluctant, I must believe that Mr. DeKiller's testimony is accurate. That would mean that Shelley DeKiller's client is Adrian Andrews. My life. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? If I end the trial here, right now, then your client, Matt Ungard, would be declared innocent. And in his place, Adrian Andrews would be charged with murder. Miss Andrews be charged with murder? The prosecution has no further questions, so we will now hear the defense's final remarks. Bailiff, please bring the defendant, Matt Ungard, to the stand. The items from the killer's hideout didn't make it in time. We tried as hard as we could, but it looks like our time has run out. I can't believe it. The outcome now lies in your hands. What do you mean by that? Dude, did the old guy finally decide? To be honest, I can't think of you as a truly innocent or good person. You have done enough evil to drive a woman to suicide. But, at least on the charge of murder, it would appear you're innocent. Huh. So, I guess even the old fuddy-duddy figured me out. Mr. Ungard? You were atrocious as a lawyer, weren't you, giving your client away like this? And that refreshing like a spring breeze crap, it's just as atrocious, don't you agree? Anyway, get on with it and pronounce me innocent already. Right, Mr. Lawyer? Should I side with justice? Or should I save Maya's life? You better get on guard and guilty, sir, then it's okay? But if I did that, Maya will die. But if I say he's innocent, then Miss Andrews will be charged as a murderer. If I say he's guilty or not guilty, either choice I make, someone's life is going to end. It all hinges on what I choose. Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear the defense's final statements on this matter. If the person who hired the assassin was Adrian Andrews, then your client, Mr. Matt Ungard, is innocent. There's no need to ask, old man. After all, my lawyer is going to say what I want, aren't you? Right. I can't do this. If I have to decide something, I can't count on the evidence to help me anymore. I have to listen to my own heart. Why'd you get rid of the evidence? My client, Matt Ungard, is... save. Because I actually don't know. Well, I kind of have a feeling I know what they do, but... I refuse to let Adrian Andrews die. I refuse. We're waiting for your answer, Mr. Wright. Matt Ungard, your client deserves an answer. Maya, I'm sorry. Matt Ungard is...
Objection!
You bitch! I was about to say guilty. Francisca von Carmen. Hey, at least I got my answers, though. What are you doing here? Ow! You see now, don't you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? This is exactly why you should never take your eyes off that scruffy fool. Do you bring them, the final pieces? Do you have them? You should know better than to ask that, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. Von Karma is perfect in every way. The evidence is here in perfect condition. Don't worry about Scruffy. He's fine, and his injuries are minor. All the items are inside this. You took his jacket? What a filthy old coat this is. That's Gumshoes. I can spot his tattered rags anywhere. I apologize for its ugliness, but there is nothing else to wrap these items in. Thanks, Karma. But goddammit, if I didn't want to just pronounce him guilty, I fought long and hard this whole trial. All of it for what is inside that raggy coat. I'm sure that inside that coat lies a crucial piece of evidence. Your Honor, inside that filthy coat are the defense's final pieces of evidence. Your final evidence? Yes.